Hello, we are in a crisis, and the time has come to pull our drunk friend away from the most exciting party of our lifetimes. Andrew Yang was the first presidential candidate in my lifetime that I donated my money to. He was the first person in history to give me the faith that I could fight for someone without being a loser. I was sick of voting for losers. I've been voting for losers my whole life. And just for once, I want to be on the winning team. Pardon me, I gotta pop a new thing in the John. Because Where was I? In times of crisis, that's when you start to look deeper and have a vision of life for what it really is. Perhaps when a loved one dies, or when you are going through a breakup, or if you lost your job. Sometimes you have these moments where things get really, really real. So, I had a lot of fun with Andrew Yang this year, especially in the spring. I was Yang Gang 110% for 2 months. I know all of the rebuttals. I can defend his ideas all the way. I'm one of the most qualified people in the country to do it because not only am I left wing, but I have experience with monetary policy, and I'm the only person who can stand up to Paul Krugman and tell him UBI is going to work, the VAT tax is going to work, and we don't need no wealth tax, and you cannot stop an idea whose time has come. So watch out, famous economist Paul Krugman. You got a lot of book smarts, and you've done your homework, and I'm not pretending to be no master economist, but Marianne Williamson understands value and how economy really works and how emotions are what drives markets, consumer confidence, investor confidence. We need to have a deeper conversation here, people, and connect with what we really want and start to treat each other better so we can be more productive again and get this economy running. I propose universal basic income within the context of a Marianne Williamson presidency. And I don't care if you think she's a joke or not, because there are dark psychic forces at work leveraging fear to pull you away from one of the two candidates we have who think for themselves. And for that reason, Tulsi Gabbard and Marianne Williamson are dangerous. Dangerous ideas. Hey, are you going to believe people who tell you what to think? Or are you going to believe somebody who provides you the tools to think for yourself? And that is a dangerous concept in these times. It is radical. Radical ideas, man. Hey, and you know what? Taking it back to the Declaration of Independence, that's pretty radical too. It was radical then, and it's radical today. Okay? Because the people have the right to alter or abolish destructive government. And hey, we're not trying to abolish anything. We have other candidates who are trying to tear everything apart. We're trying to heal, okay? We are the healers. Take your eyes off Marianne Williamson for a second and look at the type of person who truly believes Marianne Williamson is a good idea. I want you to listen to these people. These are the healers, okay? These are people who, they do, healing, you know. I'm an audio engineer. I have 18 years of experience as a freelancer helping musicians make the most of what they can in a limited capacity. We got low overheads, okay? These people don't have much money, and I know how to get it done. I can make every shortcut possible. And although I was very interested in audio in my 20s, as I moved into my 30s, I started transitioning into more of like something almost like a spiritual teacher. Almost, okay? I'm not trying to be superstitious. I'm interested in managing the way we feel, okay? Because when it comes to productivity and trying to achieve your goals, it's not going to work unless if you have your own motivation and or somebody nearby who loves you and wants to see you succeed. We love you, and we want to see America succeed, okay? So, I don't care so much about what you think you've seen in the news, okay? There's commercially motivated disinformation out there to pull your eyes away from a candidate who has spent 30 years developing the power of the human mind and how to manage our emotions in a state of crisis. So that's just me. And I no longer overtly wave the flag of Marianne Williamson because she's the most hated candidate that we have. Okay? Because we are living in a false reality and we don't really see things for what they really are anymore. There's a war on information, and we know that the game is rigged, the TV is telling you things. People know that now. But what not everybody gets is that social media is also compromised. It has been compromised for quite some time, okay? Talk to a Tulsi Gabbard supporter about it. Talk to an Andrew Yang supporter about it. All right. So I see several paths to victory for several candidates, okay? Just yesterday, I had this psychic vision that Andrew Yang has crossed the Rubicon. He got to the point where 51% of his base are... I don't like using name calling. In some videos, I refer to them as neolibs, and that is wrong, okay? No labels, all right? But when I say neolibs, it's because the target audience for those videos were the early adopters of his plan, and they are not ideologically aligned with the incoming members of the base. I believe that now that there's a majority stake by normies, they're going to, over time, subtly put pressure on Yang that Yang is a good guy. He's friendly with everybody, and he's flexible. He is already, if you look at Yang's platform from 1 year ago and compare it to today, there's a few issues where he moved away from the will of the early adopters and went along with the populist majority stake. That is not what we're doing here. Marianne Williamson is going to run this country like a family. And no one knows better than your mother, and you have to trust her because she's coming from a healing perspective. And when you're sick, you don't want to get better. Okay? We get it. Sometimes if you're depressed and you're hungry, you don't want to eat. Sometimes when you're tired and you really want to keep going, you don't know how to step back and take a nap. I think of her as the ethical authoritarian. You can't control her, and she's not going to bend to give you whatever you want. She's going to rule you like a classic Republican who doesn't come from hate. Okay? I'm talking Martin Luther King Republican. Okay? That's what I'm saying. Tulsi Gabbard is more of a classic liberal. You know, very similar to Bernie Sanders, and Tulsi Gabbard works through disagreements in a way that is very, very different from Yang. Yang wants to make it work, and he looks at the data and says, hey, if the people want this, let's do it. And it's a lot of fun. When you're in the Yang gang, it's very positive, and everybody, Yang is a hard guy to go up against because it's really hard to attack his character. He's a good guy, and I trust him completely because I got into his TED Talk 6 years ago. I am an early adopter of Yang. I got in, take it from somebody who invested in Bitcoin in 2011. And I predicted that Tulsi Gabbard would go viral last year when everybody thought it was a joke, okay? I'm not pretending to be psychic, but I see things before they happen. And miracles are not magic. Miracles are a series of decisions that we make collectively to bring forth into reality what it is that we visualize collectively, okay? So be careful what you wish for, because wishes can come true. Because as you go through life, the attitudes that you put out there affect other things. There's a butterfly effect, and it is so complex that we cannot predict what's going to happen. I see several pathways that this can go on, okay? And unless if a miracle happens, Andrew Yang is going to win. Because everyone, nearly everyone, underestimates the viral exponential growth on this curve. Andrew Yang has copies of himself. He's self-replicating. It takes only a few minutes to integrate his sales pitch, and when approaching a brand new person who is hearing this for the first time, you can Yang someone within 20 minutes. Do you know what the adoption curve of Tulsi Gabbard is? It takes hours to work through a lot of issues before you can see the truth for what she really is. Andrew Yang has the benefit of being an outsider with not too much history to look at. So he's perfectly clean. I mean, he's verified. There's people who've known him for years. He has executive experience in the nonprofit industry, and he's prepared to run a cabinet. I have nothing but good things to say about Andrew Yang. But like I said, we need to pull our drunk friend away from the most fun party of my lifetime. It's going to be really hard to let this go because the Yang Gang is very positive, and I was part of it too, and I know exactly what it's like to have that solutions-based. We want solutions. We see the problems that got Donald Trump elected. Okay, forget about the platform. I'm saying the platform will change. Okay? Let's be adults about this for a second. 18 months from now, when Andrew Yang is president, his platform is going to be virtually unrecognizable compared to the platform from a year ago. He's going to meet with Obama in about a month to teach him how to be flexible in a populist kind of way. Andrew Yang is going to be president of the United States. I have no doubts as to where this is headed. Miracles can happen. We have a chance to intervene. Marianne Williamson and Tulsi Gabbard think for themselves, and you can't control them. Hillary Clinton cannot control them. Hillary Clinton's proxies attempted to use Marianne Williamson to distract the spiritualists away from Tulsi Gabbard, and this plan is going to backfire because Hillary did not anticipate that Marianne can't be controlled. That's right, people. And I broke a story. I'm starting to break a story about why she's not really allowed to go on Joe Rogan. And Joe likes her. He really actually does. But Joe's friend has a gun to his head. And there's someone else, I don't know if you believe about all of the, I think it's 39 friends and associates of the Clintons who have committed suicide. These are dangerous people with a lot of power. And Marianne and Tulsi are fearless. And ideologically, they're very dangerous because if you inspire people to think for themselves, the people are going to win the information war and will be able to return to sanity and truly have a season of repair. Donald Trump has broke our minds. And we know that he's only a symptom of the problem. And I saw this during the Obama election that when we try to talk about facts, we don't really have perfect information anymore. Okay? Whenever you find a conspiracy theory, chances are that it's just planted there to mislead you. And there's a conspiracy within the conspiracy. What it comes down to is you managing the way that you feel about things, because from there a deeper conversation can be had and we can connect with what it is we really want and try to do the progressive things that we're talking about. The conversations between Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders supporters is not working. We want to help the poor. We want to help the kids. We want to transform this corporate aristocracy that's hijacked our great republic. We need to return to sanity. And we need to start some real peace building that starts at home. It starts with your neighbors. I want you to knock on your friend's door who voted for Donald Trump, and I want you to say, all right, you know what? We're going to have to negotiate. We have to put our differences aside. We got to work out these issues. And the only way you can do that is try to have a deeper conversation about where your values actually lie, okay? I'm going to briefly go through a bunch of candidates, and I'm going to tell you my perspective from this point on the timeline what their path to presidency looks like. Considering that it's very important for you to realize that I have reasons and vision that it is too late to stop Andrew Yang, and the wheels are in motion, and it's going to take a miracle to stop him. Amy Klobuchar, her path requires the people finding out the truth that she is the strongest on big tech, and it's been that way all along. I've made jokes on Twitter about how, it sounds like Amy's listening to Andrew Yang now because she's talking about Amy Klobuchar has a proven track record of standing up against big tech, and I believe that she is the strongest candidate in that regard. If we are going to fix the information war, I believe this is the issue of our time. It is related to dark money, but I think it might be more important. Climate change, healthcare, you are not going to get any of these things unless if we fix the quality of our information so that our neighbors can make a rational decision. The learning curve of big truth, the adoption curve here, it could take 10 years for the uninitiated to really kind of understand, even begin to understand what Marianne Williamson is talking about, or to be able to see her as a real person. Like I said, it could take many hours to understand Tulsi Gabbard after working through the bad information. If we can fix our information, if we can fix social media, if we can fix big tech, and impose real actionable regulations on them, we can be on the path to all of us being better off because we have better information. And then in the future, if we're going to have a Bernie Sanders supporter arguing against Elizabeth Warren supporter, we have better information to work with. And it's more likely we'll be able to work through and get something done. In the meantime, any supporter of other candidate versus another supporter of another candidate, you're not on the same wavelength because you're seeing different types of fake news tailored to your demographic. Amy Klobuchar is the strongest on big tech, and she is hidden from you. She's right in front of your face and you don't see her. You're listening to me right now and you don't want to believe it. And I hope that you can look past your confirmation bias and be able to see that that's what I'm saying. From there, that's her path. For Amy Klobuchar to be possible, the reputations of everybody polling higher than her this is already in place. They're being systematically destroyed. Mayor Pete's reputation is too far gone. His ground game is strong and his audience is naive, so he could still win the nomination. It's still possible to reach new voters because he has a lot of money in place. Bloomberg, same thing. Tom Steyer, same thing. Elizabeth Warren, her reputation might be unworkable at this point. And I'm not saying that what we believe about these people is even true or not. It's just that based on the information that we're allowed to see, so we're in a reality TV show, and nothing is real. Everything we think we know about the state of this election is compromised, and on social media, everything we think we know about how everyone else feels is tailored for what they think you want to see. Very few of us have the real story. And I don't claim to know everything, but I've gone through a lot of work this whole year spending time in each and every campaign to get to know their culture and what blend of fake news do they see, while also strengthening my ability to spot fake news in the first place, critical thinking work through the disinformation. Tulsi Gabbard supporters are it includes conspiracy theorists and some of the greatest minds in this nation, where you can know things that are so deep that no one's going to believe you. You ask a Tulsi Gabbard supporter to explain to you what's actually happening in Syria, it's going to be a long conversation, and you're probably not even going to believe them. And Marianne Williamson is quite similar. If you get somebody who's new to it and try to really start from scratch and get to explain what she's all about, it's quite unbelievable, isn't it? So we're living in a false reality, and there's the Plato's Cave allegory, and there's another video on that. I made a video based on an article written about Mary Hollywood about that concept, about how everything that we think we believe, we get comfortable in that, and when you see things that challenge that, it's very scary. It's really hard to take that trust fall and jump through, but I've been creating other materials. I want you to watch all of them, because this is based on not only research throughout this whole campaign, but I've spent a decade, 2 decades, through various topics leading up to positioning myself psychologically to be able to even know how to attack these problems, okay, and work through them. And I can't stress this enough. In the end, the only thing that matters is the way we feel. A Tulsi Gabbard presidency, I can see a path, but there are so many obstacles and so much resistance. That would take a miracle, and that is possible. However, that would only happen if Amy Klobuchar did not happen. And it is possible for her reputation to be destroyed too. The way Amy Klobuchar would actually get nominated is if at the final moments everybody's just sick and tired of the fake news, and they're like, you know what? I don't even care. Okay, Biden, Bernie, Elizabeth, Pete, I never heard anything bad about Amy. Let's do it. All right? Just get this over with. Or Michael Bennet, for the same reason. They're going to see a small-town nobody from Colorado, and they're going to feel safe. They're going to be like, I haven't heard anything bad about this guy. I don't care if he's qualified or not. I just want someone who's not problematic so we can get back to work and fix America. That's what the season of repair is all about. You hear Marianne Williamson talk about it. Amy Klobuchar talks about it. Michael Bennet gets it. Tulsi Gabbard gets it. I see 4 candidates who can try to just be reasonable, okay? And let's just return to reason and return to sanity. And I know it's hard to see these people as that, but on some conspiracy level stuff, I think Amy Klobuchar and Michael Bennet are Clinton superdelegate proxies. But so Tulsi Gabbard and Marianne Williamson think for themselves. And if you're the type of person who thinks for yourself, maybe you'll be able to see it. Maybe you're already here. Andrew Yang is a lot of fun, and he's going to be president. But we need a miracle, because I can see where it's going. And his message is on point. Everything that he is promising at this time is on point. I think everything is going to change.